Hey guys, welcome to the Outfitter Connection podcast. I'm your host, Austin Pressey, and this week we have on Mr. Brandon Malson. Did I pronounce that right?
That is, that was good.
Perfect. I'm one for one today with Network Outdoors. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing good. Doing good, Austin. How are you?
Can't complain, man. Just enjoying your beautiful Michigan weather up here.
Yeah, that's funny. I just got back from I think yesterday the weather I was in was, 75 and bright blue sky and rolling to get off the plane this morning in Michigan. It's like 20 degrees.
hmm Yeah, your guys' weather. I've every time I come up here, I just kind of enjoy it a little more, just because it's in the summertime. It's 100 and too hot to do anything outside back home, and then come up here in the summer, and it's like, all right, I can deal with some mosquitoes and a little bit of humidity.
Yeah, cool, like 80, 80 and change. It's I love summers up in Michigan.
Absolutely. So you own and run Network Outdoors. And for our listeners that may not know or may not have heard of you guys, what is it that you guys do?
Yeah, appreciate you having me on today.
Absolutely.
So Network Outdoors, we started it a little over 2 years ago, back in 2021. The concept began with putting business owners together and networking for business. I'm a foodie, so I always believe in let's break some bread, get to know each other, and figure out whether or not it makes sense to do business together or not. I'm in the recruiting industry, staffing, executive search. But a big passion for growing people's business and connecting folks through networking. So thought that this would be a good idea to bring people in business development functions or owners together and share outdoor experiences in hopes that will spark business at some capacity, through a good relationship building or what have you. So started off as a single little group in Clarkston, Michigan, and now we, in the last 2.5 years, we have over 20 different, we call them chapters, which all hold monthly meetups. The network now is made up of not only just business owners, but there's field pro staff, there's just outdoor enthusiasts that want to connect and grow their outdoor network, per se, not necessarily for business. And then of course there's your business professionals, but we meet on a monthly basis at each of the chapters. And then we connect with guides and outfitters around the country, charter boat captains, for professional experiences, different camps, or just day trips.
Man, that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
to build a network of that size and that stature where you have 20 different chapters across the country. Like, there is a place for everybody to kind of fit in.
Yeah, it's been a very unique experience. Like I said, it just started off with the idea of let's get a handful of business owners together, not really thinking big expansion, but um, through social media and just through networking, people start saying, "Hey, I'm in real estate. I live over here. How can we do something like that in my city?" And that started getting us thinking, like, wow, we could actually make this a lot bigger and connect dots. And for those folks that do business on a national scale, or people that hunt and fish and camp and hike and trap, and I mean, you name it, on a larger scale, this could actually be pretty cool. So the real goal is to do things as a network, power of the network, do things as a network that you couldn't do as an individual. And that's our big thing.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed with a lot of clients is they'll kind of shop around for different outfitters and guides and stuff. And it sounds like you guys kind of consolidate some of that to your recommended, like, hey, for these animals, we recommend this guy or this guy, that type of deal.
Yeah, yeah. I tell the network, members all the time, if you have an idea, I'm probably game to go do it. Let's figure it out. Let's get a group together. And as the network grows, more people are game. And
Mm-hmm.
so you come up with something wild, we'll figure out how to do it in a time frame that works for everybody. But you know, it's tough finding the perfect guide or perfect outfitter. You don't really know if you're
Right.
going out of state, if they're going to be great. Also, we like to set expectations where it's hunting, it's fishing. You're going to have bad weather days, or you know the deer are just going to do deer things, and you're not going to be able to, always harvest what you've gone out there for, or limit every single day. So expectations are set reasonably, and we're about having a good time, man.
That's awesome. I know I guide on a few high fence ranches as well, and it's you get clients that come in and they're like, "Man, where's all the animals at?" It's like, but like it don't happen that way all the time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're chasing an audit on five or 600 acres of high fence, but that don't mean he's going to stop by where we're sitting. We're just throwing educated guesses on, okay, he's been here for a week, and today the pattern could have changed completely. We could have bumped him with the side by side on his way to the feeder. We could have bumped him out of this hole that he's been in for the last month. And some clients, they understand it. Some guys are just like, man, this is high fence hunting. It's supposed to be easy, and it's like, no, it don't work that way. These animals are animals 100% of the time. We just hunt them
Yeah,
occasionally.
yeah,
That's
that's fun.
Yes, sir. Now you guys just got back from an event in Arizona. What was that event?
So we have right now currently two chapters in Arizona. We have so there's 10 chapters in Michigan. I'm naturally this is where we started, so it's built out pretty good. And in Arizona we have a Tucson chapter, and a Phoenix chapter. It's actually in Mesa, but um I was just down there meeting some of the new members, meeting with new guests, and we're expanding the Tucson chapter into two or three chapters. It's been growing pretty good, and then meeting some new folks up in um, around that Phoenix area.
That's
So
awesome.
nothing too special, but we did plan some pretty cool events. Met a owner of or a ranch manager, about 240,000 acre ranch out there that we're going to put some pretty cool events on. And she agreed, a couple times a year, come out there and hunt and camp and fish predator stuff. There's they it's a huge cattle ranch,
Mhm.
so cowboys, cowgirls everywhere, and you want to come up from the city and pretend to be a cowboy for a weekend. That's what we're gonna do.
Dude, that's awesome. Do some
Yeah,
horseback trips and stuff like that.
heck yeah, yeah. They do branding. They we'll, we'll we'll gear it around hunting, and for want to do a family thing too. That's part of Network Outdoors. Um, it's interesting. A lot of these chapters, some of them, all the members will bring their children, their wives, their husbands, and then others are like strictly business, and they're there to meet, shoot, and maybe plan a trip, and then get out. And other people are like sticking around for 5 hours. Family, they're bringing out a second meal, so it's a little different, but and we're starting to see that in Arizona. So that's what I was down there for.
That's awesome, man. So you guys have this chapter here in Michigan, or you have several chapters here in Michigan, two in Arizona. Do you guys have anything like in the Texas area? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do. Texas is so you said you're from the Midland area.
Yeah.
We're not in Midland, but we had our first Texas chapter was in Fresco.
Okay.
So we meet at the Frisco Gun Club. Actually, um it was earlier this week. That's an 11 o'clock meeting, 11 to 1. They usually, or 11:30. They meet there, have coffee and whatnot, and then they go shoot inside of a private club that we're corporate members of, and then have lunch after. So it's a little different. That was our first indoor Network Outdoors chapter. They said, "Hey, Brandon, that's cool that you guys are up in Michigan and do all these things, but down here in Texas, it's hot, man." And so we,
Hmm.
we got to do an indoor meetup. So that was our first Dallas one. I was down there a couple weeks ago actually, and we're expanding that group to have an outdoor option at the Elm Fork. Um, I think it's Elm Fork Shooting Club or Sportsman's Club. Beautiful club. And so that will be on a different day. We also have an Austin chapter at Capital City Clays that meets later this month, and we're soon to open up a Houston chapter.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
um, it's always neat because you meet things like that. It draws people from all walks of the hunting world, right? Like your first time hunters to your seasoned vets, what I call
yeah,
them, guys that have been hunting for 30 or 40 years. And then you get, guides and outfitters that get plugged into this. How do whenever you guys go through your system and find guides and outfitters that want to get plugged in with you guys, what does that vetting system look like?
Um, it's tough because you speak to different guides, and they've all had success at some point.
Mhm.
I like to figure out whether or not our members are going to have a good experience. And so, and that I know that means at some capacity that there's harvesting or catching on the fishing side, but um, it is the guide nice?
Yeah.
Are they going to treat our members with respect? Because I know the people that are coming down are going to treat them with respect and try to have a good time. So we want that to be a light atmosphere. Um, so are they going to have a good time? Do they are they not over promising, setting it up where it's going to be, we've been told all sorts of different stuff, and sometimes it pans out and sometimes it doesn't, but it's just we kind of the first experience with a guide or outfitter is kind of we're taking a flyer on it.
Yeah. And I get that completely because in Texas, we don't have guide licenses. The state doesn't require us to hold insurance. It does, you go to almost any other state and you have to have a guide license. You have to have insurance. You have to be able to prove that,
Yeah.
you've went through some grade of schooling or a class somewhere. So I actually hold my guide license in New Mexico.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I have a guide license in New Mexico. I'm 1 year away from getting my outfitter license. Actually,
Okay.
the fall of this year, I should be able to apply for my outfitter in New Mexico. And so I
Very-
hold that just to give a little bit more credibility to who I am and how I run my side of things. And it puts some clients at ease, and other clients are like, it doesn't matter. They're just there to go hunt and have a good time, and that's what it is for them. But
Yeah, like in January, it's interesting. So one of so I'm not the sole owner of Network Outdoors. I have a couple partners and a few co-founders, and partner out in Maryland connected with a guy down in Houston, and Ashton showed us a couple different, said, "Hey, we want to go sandhill crane hunting," and so he sends up a number of different people that he's connected with, and said, here's what you're looking for. Here's what the pricing is. Here's probably the difference in experience, and laid it all out there. So that we rely on local connections. Now knowing you, obviously gonna get your take on a number of things. I'm sure we'll do some fun things together, but you try to rely on network connections, any kind of connection you have that can give you some more insight on what to expect. And it was pretty nice. It was like, hey, you could pay this amount of money, and you're going to expect this, and this, or you could pay this, and you're on your own for doing this, and this, and then there was a couple options in between. It was awesome, man. And we had a great time, and we ended up, what did we do? We waterfowl hunted one day. And in Michigan, we don't have, like, we have that early season teal in the first 2 weeks of September. They're not in full plume though. So, I'm throwing out uh hen mailer decoys to pull in green wings, and it works because they look like a bigger version. But down there, everything was in full plume, so we're bringing back stuff that we're super excited about. A Drake green wing with full color, pintails in full color. We don't really get that up here, so we did that one day. Brought a cooler full of taxidermy uh, grade birds, and then the next day we sandhill crane hunted, and everybody's. I just got sick of hearing ribeye of the sky, ribeye of the sky. I'm like, I gotta taste ribeye of the sky, all right? And so we went down there, and we were grateful enough to get a few down on the ground, and here to say it definitely tastes like, it looked like a big steak fillet that
mhm.
was tender like a ribeye. Awesome.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's sandhill crane hunting can be In my short opinion of waterfowl, it's probably one of the most frustrating things to hunt.
Oh, we gave the guides a run for their money. I mean, they worked really hard for us. And it was challenging. I mean, we had how many guys we had? We had 8 guys, I think, down there. And, it's just tough to keep cover and get permission. And we weren't. There was a feed beyond us that there was thousands of them, and then there was a roosting area, and so we were set up kind of in the middle, and none of them were going to decoy. So our whole plan was they're going to fly over and we're going to get some pass shots. And then that's what happened. They were just hovering over us and, we got some, but, and then, the guys just went above and beyond, and we don't have dove hunting up here in Michigan. And so they said, hey, um, the hunting was slow. Totally get it. How about you guys come out and we'll take you dove hunting too. So it's just, we had a blast, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, if anybody listening ever, if they haven't dove hunted and want to fine tune their wing shooting capabilities, jump on a Texas dove hunt because those birds are flying like missiles.
Oh yeah.
They're fast as all get out. They're fun to hunt. And yeah, you get 15 a day, but it takes a team of people to make a meal out of some dove.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Sterling Pay from Texas Renegade Outfitters. He's man, he did a really good job working with our crew. And to your point, there were people on that trip that they hunt every single opportunity they could possibly get. They have every firearm. They've harvested everything. They've gone on 30 out west elk hunts, and then there's other people that this was their first time bird hunting. And it's everything in between. So ages of 20 something years old to 60 something years old. And when a guide can handle that type of a group, which typically is what we bring, it's we appreciate it. It's a good time.
Absolutely, man. And it kind of makes it nice for your members too, though, that you guys have already done the homework, you've researched the guide. It takes that legwork out of it for your customers, not customers, your members.
Members. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's a membership look like through Network Outdoors? Like if somebody listening was like, man, I really would like to get involved in this and I want to become a member in my area. What's a membership fees? Are there requirements, anything like that?
Yeah, there's an application process that you can fill out or complete on our website. There's a few different ways to pay. I haven't had anybody join that doesn't have a meetup in their area. So if someone's listening to this and they think the concept is good or want to learn more, we can absolutely find a time to talk and see what it looks like to set up a chapter or chapters in the area. But a membership comes out to just about $100 a month, and so 1,200 a year. Some people pay 450 as an annual fee and 60 a month. Other people just say I want to do 100. We have corporate members that pay 5,000 on. It's actually 4,900 and on up, depending on how many people are in their company, and different sponsorship deals. And on the website, it's funny, we just added onto the website what your money actually pays for. So nobody's really joined unless they've come out to one of our meetups or gone out to an event. So everybody knows what would be included, but we just put it on the website in case, I don't know, so other people can see. But included in that is we pay for all your ammo, your range time, and your food for every meetup. And so in an area where we just have one meetup, we'll discount it out to make sense for that startup area. But for an area like in Michigan, you have many options. I have one member that goes to 7 meetups a month. And so if you do the math, we're losing money on that member. But that's okay, because our whole deal is participation. We want good people meeting other good people, promoting the network, promoting the outdoors, and participating. So in our eyes, that's a win. But yeah, you pay one fee and you have free reign to go to as many meetups as possible, have all your ammo, range time, and food included. We do connect with outfitters and guides and get discounted pricing and different ranches and stuff to get stays. And we pass that along to our members. There's member only events. We have a pretty cool built out website with it's like a little mini social media platform back there that you can post stuff, invite people to. There's a number of things that go into it, but that's what a membership looks like. And then we haven't even talked about the nonprofit work that we do. So it's important to us that we're not a nonprofit. Network Outdoors is a for-profit entity, but we every chapter works with different nonprofits that do good things for either land conservation, water, ways, habitat, new hunter programs, new angler programs, or our veterans. And then this year we've opened it up to other nonprofits that are doing just good, impactful things for local community. So things like MAP, Michigan Abolition Project, that dedicates almost I want to say 100% of the money brought in goes towards anti-human trafficking efforts. So things like that we started doing this year just because we want to expand upon.
And that's awesome. Like multifaceted and not just in the hunting community, but across the board.
Yeah, we want to just support local areas.
I love it, man. You guys don't pay for your members' hunting licenses and their trip though, correct? That comes out of the members' pocket, but you do combine everybody together to be able to go on these trips, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we don't we don't do that. So what we would do is we would link up with a guide or outfitter ranch. We get pricing, and you know a lot of the times we'll say hey, we'll pay whatever price you want us to pay, and then if it's a good experience, let's look into how many trips we need to book in order to get some sort of a discount break, a better experience, or some special thing that a network of individuals could do versus just an individual go out there. And so we have deals with some fishing charters that we'll put 20 trips on the books for the year, get a real good price. 10 hunting trips, get a really good price.
Yeah.
And then also promote them and do multi-year stuff. We're big enough now where we know we're not going away. So why not put together multi-year deals and then pass that savings on to our members.
That's awesome, man. I love to hear stuff like that. It makes it worthwhile to a landowner or a ranch, high fence or low fence, to know that like, hey, I can count on these guys coming every year for the next 3 or 4 years, assuming that they have a great experience every time, and it entices them to be on their best, put their best foot forward whenever you guys get there. And it should be that way, every hunt. So
Yeah, we
it's
don't
kind of
want to
neat to
come in
hear
there
that.
and say, hey, give us a deal right away. One, we might not like you, and vice versa. You might not like us for whatever reason.
Mhm.
I have no idea. We've had very, very, very few bad experiences. Most, overwhelming majority of the time, we have good experiences, and we'll put together some deal. And the deals are, we're not asking, hey, guides and outfitters work really hard to earn their living. They do a really good job. We're not asking you to give us free, a free trip and things like that by any means. We want you to make money. We want you to stay in business. We want to help promote your business and your efforts. But we also like to offer our members something special that they couldn't do on their own. So give us a little bit of a break that you wouldn't normally give on your website.
Yeah. And that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It is hard as a guide and an outfitter to, we get asked all the time, like right off the gate, hey man, I want to book a hunt, but I want a discount. It's like, I've never hunted with you before. I don't know how you are as a client. I don't know how you are as as a hunter, and it's hard to gauge like, okay, do I give them a 20% discount or a 10% discount for this hunt that they may quit on 3 days in, and you might be out that extra money that you could have made or sold that hunt to another person that wasn't going to quit. And I ran into that a little bit this year where people just showed up and like they couldn't hang for the week.
Mm.
They tapped out a couple days in, and it's like, man, this was rough. Not just on them, but now I have, 4 or 5 days that I could have booked somebody that would have stuck through it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to
But
know. That's what we say. Hey, we'll come out there, whatever you're charging. We'll pay it. We'll make it
yeah,
happen, and then and show us a good time and give
yeah,
us a good experience, and we'll make it worthwhile.
that's awesome, man. What's one of those trips that you've done maybe since the inception of Network Outdoors that trip just sticks out to you above all the rest? Like it was just that one over the top experience where it's like, man, this was why we're doing it.
That's tough to put on. Um,
Or
because
maybe there's multiple.
yeah, I mean, hey, the background here, that was creating Network Outdoors. And this was taken out. That's the Madison River. I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And so that area, why this picture is so special is because when we got there, that was when one of the times Yellowstone National Park was on fire. And so the whole we go into the area and you don't see mountains. There's no landscape of mountains. You just see the road and everything is just, it looks cloudy, but it's all smoke. And the evening before that, it poured rain. And we woke up and all of a sudden it was just like bam, mountains. And that was the last day we were there. And
Mm.
so, at that time we had gone into the park, we caught our first Yellowstone cutthroat trout. And caught beautiful big rainbows and browns and all along the Madison and the different creeks. And it was just an amazing experience. And then that last day, all of a sudden clouds and smoke parted, and you're there in the Madison Range is amazing. So that kicked off the following year. We went back out, and I took a group into the park, and we did a few-day camping trip inside of Yellowstone, and went up to what was it? First Meadow, Second Meadow, Slough Creek, and 6 miles. I think it was 5.5 or 6 miles in each way. Saw a wolf about like 80 yards tearing after a pack of um, bison, and almost got the baby, and saw us and actually stopped and ran back in the woods. You could just, you hear them howling and you can feel it in your chest as you're hiking through these woods. And you just, you're in a place like that. Hey, even in Texas, like you're just not at the top of the food chain. And that does something to you. You have a different outlook on nature and a respect for wild places. So, and then going through that experience with other people, it just elevates a relationship or a friend, whatever it is. It's pretty cool. So then we hopped out, and a different group came in for Henry's Fork of the Snake River. We were in Park Island, Idaho. Got schooled real bad, and that was a tough river to fish. Had a blast. Got rained out one night, and all of our tents were soaking wet, and had to stay in a yurt. So just cool things like that. Where saw a lot of the eagles were coming down and catching fish, but we weren't, and it was just cool. So things like that. That sandhill crane hunt. We've a lot of deer hunting, whitetail. We went on an elk hunt last year in northeast part of Utah. Hunted public land, and one of our longtime members, Dawn Connor, she that was her first elk hunt, and she was the one that got in within 50 yards of a bedded bull, and didn't expect it, and it just stood up, and she was so excited that she woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning the next day to hike 2 miles up that mountain in hopes of getting to get another shot at that thing. some of these trips, and those are some of the bigger ones, but even when you go riverside or, you tie up a fly and you watch someone catch their first salmon or steelhead during the runs, or limit of walleye in 30 minutes in the Detroit River, which we do a ton of up here. That it just, you see it. It changes people's lives. And at the same time, um, their businesses change, their outlook, their commitment to conservation. It's awesome, man. So I can't really pick out one, but last year we did 350 events.
Holy cow.
This year we'll probably do more. Definitely
That's
more.
awesome.
Yeah.
You were talking about not being at the top of the food chain. I brought the Women of the Wild group down, or they came down and hunted Aoudad with me last year, in April or March
Those
and
were
April.
awesome pictures. I saw those. Those are great.
Yeah. Well, we're walking through one of the canyons coming out at one night, and it's like, man, or no, it was going in. I'm sorry. We were going in, and Felicia and I, we heard something, and we both looked at each other. We're like, yep. Didn't say anything to the girls, not a word. And her and I knew what it was, but the girls were like, oh, what's that? And we're like, oh, it's a bird, not to freak anybody out. It was a mountain lion.
Mm.
And so we go to the top of one of the mesas, and I pull my SD cards out of my trail cameras, and we're going through them, and there's a breeding pair, a female and a male, on top of the mesa overlooking camp, looking down at camp.
Oh,
And it's like, oh yeah, no, we're small fish in a big pond out here.
oh yeah.
And it's man, it's so much fun doing
Mm.
anything in the outdoors, just because it's like you can disconnect, right? You can leave your phone in the truck. You tell everybody, like, hey, I'm out of service. Whether you're out of service or not, it doesn't matter. But like, hey, I'm disconnecting. I'm checking out for a couple days. And to have that with a group of friends, it's one thing to go out and do it by yourself, but to have a group of like-minded people go with you, it it gives you a new perspective on life, because you get to hear everybody's stories without everybody's space being buried in a phone.
Yeah, it's amazing when you can unplug like that, especially when you're in an area where you literally satellite phones your only option. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty neat. One thing we started doing this past year was renting properties. So people in the network, they own hunting properties or good fishing spots or fishing boats, and we do a lot of that. But Harson's Island up here in Michigan was is just a duck hunting mecca. You can go on public land or public water. There's public land. There's a managed DNR area with a 100-acre preserve where you can't hunt, but there's at I think the peak of the season there's probably 25,000 ducks
Mm.
inside this, and you're in zones all around it, and it's a little bingo thing, but um we're getting more into renting properties or leasing properties for members also to utilize. And so last year was the first time. Well, let me back up a second. Our first year, once we had the idea of, hey, this group is cool, let's put on an event. And so a few of us put together a duck hunting camp. We rented a house on Harson's Island for the night. We fed everybody steak dinner. We got some sponsors involved. We bonfire, steak dinner, gifts, open bar. Just had a really good time. Then woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, cooked everybody breakfast, and then we were at the shack for the bingo at I call it bingo. It's you get a number and they pull your number and then you get to pick your zone. You have to be there by 5:30 in the morning. And so we have everybody there. We have boats and decoys, everything you need to go duck hunting on there. And we were able to do that for fairly cheap. The guy rents the house out for $250 a night, and we were able to come in there and charge everybody $199, and that included the stay, the food, ammo, the whole deal, because we're bringing in sponsors and stuff. But that kicked off, hey, events are cool too. And so then we did a second annual, and we did last year a third annual. And last year we went from renting that one house to a bigger house year two, to last year we rented out the whole South Channel Yacht Club and then surrounding houses of that to have everybody in there. And then we rented out a house for the entire season on the island. And we're going to do it again this year, where members can leave their duck boats. They can use the house to stay or bathroom or make breakfast or work from. It had Wi-Fi, and it's just, pretty cool. So we're looking to do a lot more of that stuff, and that comes along with, member benefit.
Absolutely, man. And it it seems like you guys are growing exponentially each year or each event. It just gets a little better and a little better and a little better. Do you see anything like you where you get to the point where it's like, man, how do we improve on this? And the next year it's like, oh wow, this we just put this together.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what people can come up with,
Mhm.
and it's pretty neat. It's all we're still in infancy. I still say we're in infancy stages, because it's, that first event is usually, um I always get nervous. What if we don't pull in enough people? And a number of events we'll take a bath on, and we lose money because we don't fill the spot. It's tough to do that. So what we've been doing is saying, hey, the cost of this event or this trip is, there's a range. So it's, at a minimum it's going to be this, depending on how many people we go. At a maximum it's going to be this, depending on how many people go. And so that's worked out a lot better than in the past, where we said, hey, it's, 250 or 350 or 800 or, whatever it is. Because we're a startup. It's, yeah, we have a bunch of chapters, but it's still, bunch of chapters and a bunch of events and bunch of challenges.
Yeah. At the time of this recording, how many members do you currently have?
Just under 200. We're
Just under
getting,
200.
yeah, we're getting pretty close to 200.
That's awesome, man. And it's grown since 2021.
September of 2021 was our first meetup, when it wasn't a membership. It was just a, let's eat some food, talk about, cool things, and go shoot some guns, break some clays.
Man, that's awesome. In just under 2 years, you've grown it to, or I guess just over 2 years, you've grown it
Yeah.
to over or just at 200 members. That's awesome. And that's a hard feat to do, because you've got people that want to do it that maybe can't this year, but then they've got friends that they talk to about it, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to sign up. I'd love to be involved in that. What are the requirements from the members? Like, you have to show up to X amount of meetings, or you have to do this or do that or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's in participation is important.
Hmm.
And you know, most companies will say, hey, I'll take your money, whether you participate or not. But that really is that's the way we grow. That's the benefit of being part of a network. There's a lot of things come from member participation. So at a minimum, you have to come to 4 events a year. And that's not a lot to ask.
No.
And we haven't changed that from the beginning. We probably should up that, but we haven't had a problem getting people out there, especially when we start adding multiple chapters around your location. So I mean, we also do things like like in Metro Detroit, we have one of the members owns a restaurant. So we'll meet there once a month. And then another member owns a series, like a number of restaurants. So we'll meet there. And then so we'll start doing different meetups, where it's like, if there's an evening meetup, then we'll do a lunch on an off week, or a dinner on an off week, or a breakfast, or just little things like that, where it's more connection points. But yeah, show up to 4, be a good person, care about the outdoors, care about each other. Hopefully it's not a requirement that you have to do business with people in the network, but I mean, we've found, hey, if you're part of this thing, you want your other members to do well. And so if you need an electrician or someone to do print, or an outfitter or a guide, you're going to go to the ones that are part of the group. So that's what we do.
Man, that's awesome. We're coming up here, I think, around 45 minutes or so. If you don't mind, kind of plug in where people can find you, how they can get a hold of you if they would like to join up and be a member. And then I always like to close it out with one solid piece of advice for the listeners.
Network out. So at most of the social channels I want to say are at Network Outdoors. And you can message us through the website, networkoutdoors.com, direct message anybody through um our social channels, either me, myself, one of the partners, or one of the field pro staff will get back to you pretty fast. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you're interested in starting up a group in your area, we've got a few states on the docket, but always open for ideas. Um, Man, piece of advice is a lot of people will wait. Like they'll say, gosh, that going down to Texas to hunt, that sounds cool, and maybe one day. Um just do it. Literally, just do it. You're never gonna have enough money, or you're never gonna have enough time, or you're never gonna have the right equipment, or whatever the case is. Um, there, if you connect with the right people, and we would love to help in any way, and whether you're a member or not, if you have questions, we'll send you down to you, or just somebody that will set you up with the right equipment, with the right connections to where to stay, and the whole deal. But there's always, don't ever be shy about price either. There's a lot of different ways to afford things. And so just my advice is never shy away from an experience. Make it happen. Get out there, do it.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on, Brandon, and I look forward to talking to you soon. I do have a couple questions for you after this is done, and I think there's some things we can work out together.
Yeah, I really look forward to it, Austin. Thank you very much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother.